been a tough year for all of us with the pandemic and the Democrats steal. YouTube's new Orwellian policies banning people from pointing out the obvious. But nobody has had it more difficult, perhaps, than the liberal media, who have failed at so many things, it's impossible to keep track of them. But I did put together a nice list. Since pretty much everything is virtual now, including congressional hearings, Democrat Senator Tom Carper from Delaware had a little problem figuring out how to use Zoom.
Is Senator Carper there? We'll move on to Senator Langford.
Mr. Chairman, I think Senator Carper is there. I think he's trying to be able to cue it all up right now.
Senator Carper, can you unmute?
I'm unmuted.
Actually, CNN's Jeffrey Toobin should be in this slot since we're talking about Zoom fails, but this is a family-friendly YouTube channel, and it wouldn't be appropriate for the kids to hear what he was doing on a Zoom call with his colleagues when he thought he was on mute. Coming in next on my list of the biggest liberal media fails of 2020 is Don Lemon failing an aptitude test live on the air, while at the same time mocking President Trump for being glad that he aced his with flying colors.
Usually, listen, I'm not a doctor, and I'm going to let Dr. Reiner explain it in a little bit. Yeah. But usually when there is some issue or some concern about, your cognitive abilities.
So what were the animal shapes?
Well, it's a lion, a hippo, and a camel.
Isn't that a rhino in the middle?
A rhino.
You don't even know a hippo from a rhino. You got no cutie, son. You got no cutie.
I'm looking at it backwards.
Don's only good at reading what the teleprompter tells him to say and pretending to be offended at the things Republicans do. Coming in next is when Jim Acosta tried and failed miserably to get an interview with Ivanka at the Davos World Economic Forum in Switzerland way back at the beginning of this year.
Any comment on your father's impeachment trial?
Poor Jim. That played just like a scene out of a teenage coming-of-age drama when some poor loser in high school builds up the courage to go and talk to the hottest cheerleader, but she doesn't even notice that he exists. Next on the list is Richard Meadows when she said that President Trump was lying and giving false hope when he revealed that he directed one of the Navy's medic ships to head to New York to help out with the pandemic when it first kicked off, but it just wasn't going to make it on time, and it was too late, and it was all his fault.
In terms of the happy talk we've had on this front from the federal government, there is no sign that the Navy hospital ships that the president made such a big deal of, the Comfort and the Mercy, there's no sign that they'll be anywhere on site helping out anywhere in the country for weeks yet.
As you can guess, not only did it make it there on time to relieve the local hospitals, but it turns out that they didn't need it at all, and so they sent it back out into sea. This next one is one of my personal favorites. It's when MSNBC attacked me for debunking the Bubba Wallace fake news hoax before the FBI.
One of the things that happened I found just as striking in some ways in the other direction was the reaction among some conservatives to the Bubba Wallace story. There was, I guess inevitably, you have people like Dinesh D'Souza and Mark Dice and others who came out immediately and said, that they think that this is all made up. Basically questioning the legitimacy of the story, claiming somehow that this is a Jussie Smollett thing.
Well, it was inevitable that a guy in his kitchen on his laptop was going to be more accurate than the mainstream media, but you guys are making it pretty easy for me. Next on my list of the biggest media fails of 2020 are the TV doctors who thought that they could diagnose President Trump's coronavirus case better than his actual doctors.
Yeah, well, so I would say a couple things. One is that I think the president is sicker than the doctors are letting on.
Dr. Reiner, in the absence of a complete medical picture presented, you've said the president likely, we hope he doesn't, but likely has pneumonia. What gives you that suspicion? I want to go back to Dr. Hotez for a moment. We don't know much about his lungs. You've suggested perhaps the president actually has pneumonia. Is that right?
Well, it's certainly possible.
No, he wasn't sicker than he was leading on, and he certainly didn't have pneumonia. And that became clear when he triumphantly left the hospital just a few days later and caused another media meltdown because they were upset about that.
Sanjay, I would like to say that nothing surprises me at this point, but that was awful.
It was just reckless, and it's heartbreaking.
This is a Mussolini moment. Donald Trump who looks like he has makeup on, which means somebody had to get close enough to make up his face with his favorite orange patina. He's standing there as if he is, you know, a member of the old Russian Tsar family.
Just propaganda. That's all it is. I know there's sound to it. I'm not going to play it for you. Why should I? How much bullshit do you need in your life?
Number 4 on my list of the top 10 media fails of the year is when James O'Keefe from Project Veritas was able to call into CNN's morning briefing conference calls and then tape them for months on end and give us an inside view into the inner workings of CNN. And then after he had heard all that he needed to hear, he let CNN President Jeff Zucker know that he was on the call and had been on the calls for months.
You're unmuted. Hey, Jeff Zucker, you there? Hey, this is James O'Keefe. We've been listening to your CNN calls for basically 2 months, recording everything. Just wanted to ask you some questions if you have a minute. Do you still feel you're the most trusted name in news? Because I have to say, from what I've been hearing on these phone calls, I don't know about that. I mean, we got a lot of recordings that indicate you're not really that independent of a journalist.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. So everybody, in light of that, I think what we'll do is we'll set up a new system and we'll be back with you. We'll do the rest of the call a little bit later.
We're going to release those recordings today at 7 o'clock. So stay tuned. It's going to be fun.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Number 3 happened so long ago, it seems like it was forever ago, but it did happen in 2020, back in February, when the Senate decided to vote not to remove President Trump from office because of the impeachment sham.
So, you can take that home, honey. Maybe we'll frame it. It's the only good headline I've ever had in the Washington Post.
The Democrats worked so hard, and Adam Schiff even cried after pleading his case on TV for months. But the brainiacs over at Jeopardy had no idea who he even was.
U.S. Representatives for 12.
1/53rd of California's House delegation is this Intelligence Committee chairman. His name is Adam Schiff. Back to you, Veronica.
Composers for 2000.
That's how insignificant the impeachment hearings were to the average American, when not even the contestants on Jeopardy can identify the clown that was leading the circus. The second biggest media fail might be all the television doctors saying that there's no way that there would be a vaccine ready until at least next summer, and that President Trump was just making false promises by saying that there'd probably be one by the end of the year.
It's 2 years, everybody. 2 years before a vaccine. Even with all the technology we have now. Yeah.
I have really good news. Today, our nation has achieved a medical miracle. We have delivered a safe and effective vaccine in just 9 months. This is one of the greatest scientific accomplishments in history. It will save millions of lives and soon end the pandemic once and for all.
Well, I certainly hope so, but I totally understand people being skeptical about any possible side effects of this new mRNA technology. Could be absolutely fantastic and perfectly safe, and I hope that it is. But my point is that it's been a cliche for years that if President Trump were to cure cancer, the Democrats would be upset about it. But in my opinion, the biggest media fail of the year, and a scene that reflects the entire state of the media industry, was when Black Lives Matter paid a little visit to CNN's headquarters.
Well, this is a bizarre scene for people who aren't used to this. You have some people are laughing, some people are videotaping.
I just threw something on fire, Chris, a firecracker. Something's on fire.
You know, you lie down with dogs and you're going to get fleas, and that was a macro representation of the entire state of affairs, but I think you all remember this micro representation.
Why are you... We're on your side! We're on your side! Holy shit! We're on your side! We're on your side!
We're on your side. Well, that was your mistake.
I'm tired of this.
Well, Happy New Year, guys. Despite everything that's happened, we made it. And while I'm very blessed to be able to work from home, especially in the pandemic, with every blessing, sometimes there's an equal curse. And the downside is that there's not really any job security, and my career could be over tomorrow. So I really appreciate all you guys watching my videos and all the feedback that you leave in the comments, all the feedback in the tweets I get on Twitter and Facebook, and the parlays, I guess is what they call a post over there on Parler. And a big shout out to all you guys who've got my books, all the readers out there. I'm a little worried what 2021 has in store for us, I'm not gonna lie, but whatever it is, we'll deal with it. So have a good new year, and I will see you guys next year.